Welcome to Speed Reads, the pause principle. Discover the simple practice that can transform toxic workplaces and tame reactive leadership. Every leader has experienced that moment when emotions surge and words escape that can't be taken back. These reactions might feel justified in the moment, but their impact ripples far beyond a single outburst. Teams learn to withhold ideas, hide problems, or worse, start looking for new opportunities elsewhere. One reactive moment can undo months of careful relationship building. Even seemingly minor emotional reactions from leaders can create a culture of fear that slowly erodes trust, stifles innovation, and ultimately leads to organizational failure. But there's hope. Understanding why we react so strongly to workplace challenges and learning practical tools to respond differently can transform not just your leadership style, but your entire organization's culture. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel Speed Reads. Whether you're an experienced executive hoping to break old patterns or an emerging leader determined not to repeat the toxic leadership you've experienced, this summary offers a path forward. Discover how to recognize your triggers, master the power of the pause, and build the kind of workplace where people thrive rather than just survive. The costs of reactivity. Your day as a leader is filled with moments that can trigger strong reactions. A team member challenges your judgment in a packed meeting. An investor questions your strategy mid-pitch. While these situations aren't life-threatening, your body doesn't know that. In an instant, your brain and body trigger a powerful response, one that, if unchecked, can strain relationships and weaken your leadership. Understanding this reaction starts with biology. When you feel challenged or threatened, even if it's just by words or opinions, your brain treats it as a survival situation. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, instantly activates. This triggers a cascade of physical changes. Your heart races, breathing quickens, and muscles tense. Stress hormones flood your system. All of this happens faster than you can even consciously process it. The costs of these reactions in business settings are substantial. A CEO's angry outburst during a product review meeting might lead to months of reduced innovation as team members become hesitant to share new ideas. A startup founder's defensive response to feedback might cause key developers to leave the company. A store manager's harsh criticism of a new employee's mistake might mean increased turnover across the entire retail team. Small business owners face similar challenges. An owner's sharp words with a supplier could damage a crucial relationship. Consulting firms lose clients when their leaders become defensive during tough feedback sessions. While these reactions might feel impossible to control in the moment, they create lasting damage to trust, creativity, and performance. The path forward begins with awareness. Notice when your breathing changes or your muscles tense. These are valuable feedback tools letting you know that you're reacting. Remember that your reactions, while natural, are often responding to perceived rather than actual threats. The same system that once protected our ancestors from physical danger now activates when your judgment is questioned or your authority is challenged. Understanding this mismatch is the first step toward changing your response, softening up. A key part of practicing awareness is learning to calm your body at the first signs of reactivity. Think of it as softening your approach, turning difficult conversations into opportunities for stronger, more effective leadership. Softening begins with noticing sensations, your body's early warning system. Maybe your shoulders tighten during budget discussions, or your stomach knots when facing conflict. These physical signals arrive before you react, giving you precious moments to choose a different path. These sensations should be seen as friendly alerts rather than threats to fight against. Owning your discomfort comes next. Instead of pushing away that tight chest or racing heart, consciously acknowledge that it is there. When you accept these feelings as normal responses to a challenge, you gain power over them. This acceptance creates valuable space between the trigger and your response, letting you lead from a place of choice rather than reaction. Focusing on the present moment pulls you out of worry about what might happen next. When a team member challenges your decision, your mind might race to worst-case scenarios. By bringing your attention back to the actual conversation happening right now, you stay grounded in reality rather than spinning into reaction. Taking a breath may seem overly simple, but it's your most powerful tool. In tense moments, your breathing naturally becomes shallow and quick. By consciously slowing your breath, you signal to your body that you're safe. This physical reset helps you respond thoughtfully instead of defensively. The eyes are the windows to the soul, especially in conflict. Maintaining eye contact helps reinforce connection in emotionally charged situations. When tension rises, it's natural to look away or retreat into your own thoughts. But by staying focused on the person speaking, you show respect, stay present, and gain valuable insight into the moment. Finally, recognizing your need to speak helps you choose your words carefully. Instead of jumping in with an immediate response, check whether your words will move the conversation forward or just defend your position. Rather than weakening your position, these steps towards softening your reactions will strengthen bonds and workplace relationships. One regional sales director used these practices during a challenging team restructuring. When resistance arose in team meetings, she noticed her jaw clenching, her personal sensation signal. Instead of pushing back immediately, she owned her discomfort, focused on the present conversation, took a deliberate breath, maintained eye contact, and considered her response carefully. This approach turned potential confrontations into collaborative problem-solving sessions. Practice these tools in everyday situations first. Notice your physical responses during routine meetings or casual conversations. Start with just one element of softening that resonates most with you. As that becomes natural, add another over time. This practice builds new neural pathways, making thoughtful responses your default leadership style. Breaking the reaction cycle. Once you understand your body's warning signals and have practiced softening your responses, you can start actively breaking your reaction patterns. This involves looking closely at the specific situations that trigger you and building a practical framework for handling them differently. Start by mapping your trigger patterns. Notice which situations consistently spark a reaction. Perhaps it's when your expertise is questioned during presentations, or when team members miss deadlines without communication. Maybe it's receiving criticism in public settings, or dealing with sudden changes to project scope. Your triggers are unique to you, shaped by your experiences and values as a leader. Your reactions to these triggers likely follow predictable patterns too. Some leaders become overly directive, taking control of projects they'd previously delegated. Others withdraw their support, becoming emotionally distant from their teams. Many find themselves sending late-night critical emails or making snap decisions they later regret. Understanding your typical reactions helps you spot them before they take hold. Creating space between a trigger and your response requires practical strategies. When you notice a triggering situation developing, immediately acknowledge it to yourself. Simple phrases like, "I'm feeling challenged right now," or "this is a trigger moment," can create valuable mental distance between you and your reaction. Then, take one conscious breath, giving yourself time to choose a different path. The next step is to gather information instead of reacting. Ask yourself, what information might I be missing? What pressures might the other person be under? What organizational constraints are affecting the situation? This curiosity-based approach keeps your mind engaged in problem-solving rather than threat response. Turn difficult moments into opportunities for growth by keeping a simple leadership journal. At the end of each day, note situations that triggered you, how you responded, and what you might do differently next time. This practice builds self-awareness and helps you spot patterns you might otherwise miss. Build new response habits by practicing in lower-stakes situations. When a minor irritation arises, use it as a chance to try a different response. If a team member sends an unclear email, pause before firing back a frustrated response. If someone arrives late to a meeting, practice staying curious about the reason rather than jumping to conclusions. The most powerful tool in breaking reaction cycles is preemptive planning. Before entering situations you know might trigger you, decide specifically how you want to respond. Create simple if-then plans. If budget questions come up, then I'll pause and ask for clarification before responding. Having these plans ready reduces the mental effort needed to respond differently in the moment. Take a pause. Now that we've explored how to calm our bodies, let's turn to the mind. The best way to do that is with the pause. Pausing is more than just stopping. It's a powerful tool that changes the entire dynamic of challenging workplace interactions. When you pause, you create a small but crucial gap between a triggering event and your response. This gap becomes your moment of power, transforming reactive leadership into responsive leadership. Understanding how pausing works requires a look at what happens in your brain. When you consciously pause, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for thoughtful decision-making. This begins to calm your activated threat response system. Your breathing naturally slows, your muscles start to relax, and your thinking becomes clearer. Even a 3-second pause can make the difference between a reaction you'll regret and a response you'll be proud of. The pause takes different forms in different situations. In meetings, it might look like taking a deep breath before responding to challenging feedback. In one-on-one conversations, it could be a moment of silent reflection before addressing a performance issue. During high-stakes presentations, it might mean pausing to ground yourself before answering a difficult question. Many leaders resist pausing because they believe it makes them appear weak or indecisive. But the opposite is true. When you pause thoughtfully, you demonstrate emotional intelligence and self-control. Your team members notice and often begin modeling this behavior themselves, creating a positive ripple effect throughout your organization. One tech company division head, Bianca, transformed her leadership approach through pausing. During a crucial product launch meeting, a team member pointed out a significant flaw in the strategy. Instead of her usual defensive reaction, Bianca paused, took a breath, and thanked the team member for raising the concern. This single moment changed the meeting's entire dynamic. The team began openly sharing other potential issues, ultimately strengthening the launch plan. What could have been a defensive moment and a failed launch became an opportunity for closer collaboration. The pause becomes more powerful with practice. Start by identifying your 3 most challenging leadership scenarios. Perhaps they're budget discussions, performance reviews, or conflict resolution meetings. Before each of these situations, commit to taking one conscious pause. Notice what happens in your body and mind during these moments. Pay attention to how others respond when you take this time. Learning to pause effectively means accepting that speed isn't always the answer. While business often demands quick thinking, the most crucial leadership moments often benefit from that extra moment of reflection. Your pause might last just a few seconds, but its impact can extend far beyond the immediate interaction, building trust, encouraging openness, and fostering better decision-making across your entire team. Pause as practice. Responding thoughtfully instead of reacting takes practice. Just as an athlete trains specific muscles, you can train your mind and body to pause through regular meditation and awareness exercises. These practices help you recognize the difference between a stressed and relaxed state, building the foundation for better leadership responses. Body awareness is your starting point. Find a quiet moment, perhaps before your workday begins, and settle into a comfortable seated position, starting at your head and moving down to your toes. Notice areas of tension. Gently invite each area to relax with simple internal requests, like soften or release. Pay special attention to your typical tension spots, like your jaw, shoulders, or chest. This practice helps you recognize what both tension and relaxation feel like in your body. Self-compassion meditation strengthens your ability to stay steady in challenging moments. Begin by sitting comfortably and offering yourself supportive phrases. May I feel safe in this moment. May I accept myself as I am. May I know patience. May I handle this with ease. These aren't just positive affirmations. They're a form of self-regulation, helping you stay grounded during difficult conversations or decisions. The clarity meditation builds your capacity to face challenging emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Start with slow, deep breaths. Then bring to mind a typical workplace challenge, perhaps an upcoming difficult conversation or a project setback. Notice what emotions arise. Instead of pushing them away, observe how they feel in your body. This isn't about dwelling on difficulties, but about becoming familiar with your emotional landscape so you can navigate it more skillfully. Make these practices part of your leadership routine. Start with 5 minutes before important meetings. Use your commute time for a brief body scan. Practice self-compassion phrases while walking between meetings. The key is consistency rather than length. Regular short practices build stronger neural pathways than occasional long sessions. Watch how these practices begin transforming your leadership presence. Team members notice when you're genuinely present rather than reactive. They sense when you're listening from a place of clarity rather than defensiveness. Your consistent practice of pausing creates an environment where thoughtful responses become the norm rather than the exception. Over time, you'll find yourself naturally pausing in situations that once triggered immediate reactions. Your body awareness becomes sharper, your self-compassion more accessible, and your emotional clarity stronger. This isn't just personal growth, it's leadership development that positively impacts everyone around you. Final summary. In this summary to the Pause Principle by Cynthia Kane, you've learned that understanding reactive leadership starts with biology. Our brains treat workplace challenges as survival threats, triggering physical and emotional responses that can damage relationships and undermine success. The pause is your most powerful tool for breaking this cycle, creating crucial space between trigger and response that allows for thoughtful leadership choices. By practicing techniques like body awareness, self-compassion, and clarity meditation, you can develop the ability to recognize triggers before they take hold and respond from a place of wisdom rather than reaction. Most importantly, mastering the pause isn't just about personal growth. It's about creating a workplace culture where open communication thrives, innovation flourishes, and teams feel safe bringing their best ideas forward. Okay, that's it for this speed read. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next online.